Tom.
Oh, what's up?
I'm struggling.
Go on.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
Well, we've just got an email from the BBC. We do their articles on the website, right? Yeah. And we've got to pick 4 names for the player of the season vote. And I haven't got a clue who to put forward.
It's tough, isn't it? It is tough. And when you've got a goal scorer that's nearly on 20 goals, you feel like it shouldn't be. But that's how good we've been this season.
It's really difficult. We might need your help in the comments to list your top 4. But you know what? I'm also struggling because we're top half after nearly a whole season. We're breaking records all over the place. And according to Bill Foley, the best is yet to come. But you know what that means? People are noticing us. Players are getting linked with moves away. The ears are pricking up around the Premier League and beyond about our manager, Andoni Iraola. Should I just be enjoying this? Because I don't know, it's just me. I do worry about what's around the corner, but this is a great time to be alive, isn't it?
It's a brilliant time to be a Bournemouth fan, mate. I mean, over 100 years of football for this football club, and we're in the best. We're in the best season. It's incredible. But it's even more incredible when you realise what a ludicrous decision it was to appoint Andoni Iraola after all.
Scandalous. A joke.
Oh, I would say so. Scandalous, not spelled correctly, I don't believe. But yeah, it's been all right, isn't it? It's going all right. And there's still a few more records that we could break. You know, I think if we stay unbeaten against Brentford, I think that's a home record in a row of unbeaten. We could still beat our clean sheet record, which would be difficult, but 2 more. So there's more to break. Don will still be looking to get a couple to get 20. So yeah, we're not going to take our foot off the pedal, mate. And we could still have a stay in the Premier League title. So yeah, let's enjoy the last 3 and see what happens, mate, because it's been a wonderful season and it was a glorious week and weekend of football, mate. I really enjoyed every part of it.
So it was Bournemouth 3, Brighton 0 at the weekend. A supreme performance which saw the Cherries move up to 10th in the league, top half again. It was exciting, it was exhilarating, and at times we looked so dangerous. But before we get started, just a quick favour. If you're watching on YouTube, there are a couple of things you can do.
Yeah, click the like button because you love it.
Yeah.
Click subscribe because that really does us a favour. And then if you click the bell, you'll see when all the videos are out. So yeah, do all that good stuff. We really appreciate it.
And if you're listening on the audio pod, and by the way, next season, we're pleased to tell you that we'll be doubling our audio output because our preview shows will also be in audio format as well. But you can help us there by leaving a review. Just make it 5 stars. We would truly appreciate it. Like every podcast, this episode of The Second Look is sponsored by Green King Sport, where football is more than a game.
Yeah, make Green King your go-to destination for the season's final stretch. Why? Well, for one, you can watch every televised Cherries game down with delicious food and refreshing beverages. And with 900 sports pubs dotted around the UK, chances are you're within walking distance of your local Green King.
Yeah, and let's be honest, watching football, it's way better when you're with friends and family. So get the squad together for every televised Premier League fixture in an atmosphere worth sharing. That includes huge title showdowns, the race for European qualification, and nail-biting relegation 6-pointers.
Yeah, don't forget to download the Green King Sport app as well to enjoy exclusive competitions and discounts whenever there's a game on. I've got the Green King Sport app. There's a thing called Score King on there. And I got Villa Chelsea 2-2. Bang on. So what does that mean? I've got a free drink when I next pop down. Easy. So yeah, make sure you do it.
Let's check out the league table then.
Please.
For those who are listening to us, you just need to look at the top 10 because Bournemouth are 10th. Look, Brighton, they do have a game in hand, but it doesn't matter. Even if they win it, which they probably won't, given how poor they were, they will be on 47. We are on 48. We are 2 points better off than that 2016-17 season where we finished 9th. I don't know what we'll need to finish 9th. I mean, look, Chelsea, they've got 2 games in hand. Of course, one of the games, we play them at the end of the season, but finishing 9th would be tremendous. I mean, we could even do better, but that league table makes wondrous reading, doesn't it? And also, just because we're so far away from the relegation zone as well, Tom.
It is crazy how far away we are. I mean, 25 to 4? It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, really good position to be in. I mean, above some big teams in there, some big football clubs. We haven't finished above Wolves many times. We haven't finished above Brighton many times since they've been in the Premier League. You know, Fulham, Palace, even. So yeah, really, really impressive, mate. And I just want to say we were very complimentary. I felt about Aston Villa because they were very good, and the run we were on, they done really well to beat us quite comfortably. We were saying, how good the supporters were, how good a season they've had. If they'd held on to a 2-0 lead against Chelsea, we'd be above them.
Cheers, Villa.
Just, I mean, how much more complimentary do we need to be? We've got a few subscribers now from Villa fans. Can you tell me what the...
Can you pass on a message to Emery to just get your boys over the line? Look, I know there's other things you'll be wanting to worry about, especially next month, but
Yes.
that table looks good, as does the form table. Now, usually we show people the last 6. You know what? I'm going to go rogue, show them the last 10.
Why?
Where Bournemouth are 3rd. Manchester City, yeah, of course. Arsenal, yeah, of course. Bournemouth 3rd. Liverpool, way down in 4th. That is, I mean, so many greens there. If you're listening on the audio pod, it's basically green, grey, green, 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 red, grey, red, green, green. Bournemouth are doing very well indeed. And they even, on Match of the Day 2,
They
showed
spoke
our
about
record. They spoke about us. I think they showed our record since the 1st of November or whatever, which was where our upturn of form pretty much began, or in and around there. And Mark Chapman and co, very complimentary about us. What's going on?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I watched it back, saw the goals again, stuff like that. Match of the Day 2, as you say. And then, it finished, started doing the interviews, started rolling a cigarette, thinking, right, I'll go out now, it's all done. And then I went, well, hang on a minute. They're talking about they're showing clips and talking about us. It was, really nice. And, we deserve them accolades. And I think they spoke about Cliver, which I'm sure we'll speak about, later on. And, how he's developed. He's one of the ones as well that's really adapted like Andoni through the season, I think, which is great. It's what you always want to see. And I mean, we're rightly so being praised, mate, because as you say, it's that start of the season, which really now you look back and go, well, of course we're going to have a tough start. I mean, the fixtures were horrible.
Yeah.
We had a new manager who had never done anything in the country as a manager, in a completely new style. Of course, we're going to have a tough start. But the recovery from that has just been, and when you look at the stats, even I think, has it been that good? Do you know what I mean? The turnaround. I mean, I think since November, be like 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, it's remarkable, mate. And I suppose when you're in a good place, you don't talk about it, rightly so. When you're struggling, you kind of come back at things with, well, look at our injuries. We haven't had to do that because we still did well. But listen, our biggest signing, I would say, of the summer was Tyler Adams. Well, he has barely kicked the ball. Scott's had his injury problems, who was another one of our big signings. Tavernier's obviously been out for a little bit now. Sinistera's had his injury problems and is still out. Kirkers, whether it be suspension, injury, Kelly's been in and out. Yeah. We've had a lot of injuries through that time. And then equally, you could go, last season, Billing was the one that got us out of the mud a lot. He barely played because he hadn't been able to get in. So, a lot of factors mean for I didn't even mention Max Aarons, by the way, who was another big signing who's been out. So, really impressive. We've got a really exciting coach who never managed to get his assistant manager, by the way, which has never been spoken about. So, honestly, I could just keep going on, mate. I'm so impressed. And the main thing for me, and probably you could probably echo this, is going to games is what we're watching. It's so exciting. I always felt like it's going to be difficult, life after Eddie. And for the first time, I feel like there's life after Eddie. We've got I mean, Eddie Howe will always be our greatest for what he achieved. But it's going to games now just thinking, I'm going to be entertained. I'm going to be entertained. And even when we've got the luxury of going, we've got nothing to play for, I'm still going to be entertained.
Yeah, and that's what Brighton were.
Yeah.
This season, it's fallen apart a little bit. Maybe understandably so. Injuries.
Life's the beach, mate. Life's the beach.
Yeah, we've got real sand as well. We made sure their fans knew that. 6 league wins since the end of September for Brighton. It's not been good. Roberto De Zerbi was slumped on his chair during a lot of that performance, definitely the second half. But Andoni Iraola, the man De Zerbi could have been Bournemouth manager, but alas, we got our man, and really pleased for him. And it's just been so joyous to watch, and who knows what we can do. 50 points the target now, maybe, or you know what?
Yeah.
We've got 3 games left, all against London clubs. One of them's coming here. That's Brentford. That's probably the winnable game. Chelsea have just started to upturn their form, haven't they? Arsenal, obviously, in a title race with Manchester City. It makes next Saturday's game really tasty. The only kind of sour note of our brilliant 3-0 win is Semenyo, and how much I would love to see him attacking their right side. Well, their left side. Our right
he isn't.
Side.
I mean, he isn't going to play this season. I'll be absolutely stunned if he did. And my more concern is how serious it is. You know, are we talking blooming 8-9 months here? If we are, then that's a real blow. I'm hoping it's just one that, yes, it's not great, but he'll get ready he'll be back for pre-season. That's the main hope, mate, because it could be a really serious one.
There's a few people that sit in the main stand very close to the dugout, and some of them heard a noise when he went over. Now, myself and Tiggs, we were completely unaware of this because we left a bit early. Well, we have to because
we were
in row O, and for anyone that gets annoyed at us leaving early, right, we need to get down to the fan cams, and trying to get out of those exits, especially if you're in a high row, just takes absolutely ages.
You're not welcome anymore.
Well, that's right. So we sort of up sticks on about 95 minutes. I think there was 6 minutes of injury time, or maybe 5.
Can I just say this is a real turn up for the books, isn't it? Me talking about you leaving before. I was still there, mate.
So we didn't know anything about this Semenyo injury until someone on fan cams told us. So we weren't aware how bad it was, and I haven't seen it back. Don't particularly want to, but either way, the atmosphere after the game was joyous. That was the slight fly in the ointment, but other than that, what a joyous day it was. It was a joyous pre-match as well. Hog roast, churros, Dorset Pizza Kitchen, drink where you want. Nice vibe, especially when it's sunny. It's a really nice place to be and turn up early and just get in the match day vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And with
of course the QP as well, Tom.
Of course, I popped in there, of course. But yeah, it's like, because obviously you can wander about a bit with your drink now. They trialled it, didn't they, against Man United, but we were in hospitality at the time, so didn't get to gauge it too much. So yeah, it was really nice. And as you say, it's probably quite, I don't know if it's just coincidence, but smart to do it near the end of the season, trialling things because the weather's going to get better. So you're hoping for Brentford, it'll be really good. But yeah, it was nice. The only annoying thing for me was, I don't know if I might have just been, I might have just got unlucky, but when I was looking, I thought, actually, you know what? I might have one of them pizzas before I walk in, but you couldn't take it in.
Oh, okay.
So you would have had to, so I didn't have time.
Yeah. Okay.
So you couldn't take the pizza into the stadium, which was a bit of a shame. But
but what was it, in a big box or what?
I don't.
Whole pizza.
Yeah, maybe I didn't really know. I just walked over there and I just wanted to check that I could take it in. And they said you can't.
You'd have been laughed out of town, Tom, if you turned up with a massive pizza box.
Oh, it looked great, mate. Imagine me on 38 minutes just walking down with pizza, going to get a pint. But yeah, no, it was really nice vibe around the place, as you say. Yeah, it was great, and that's what you just mentioned there briefly about the last 3 games. I'm really excited about it because we've got a game on Saturday, which is obviously on the telly, where, we've got a part to play in a title race, and that's exciting, I think. We can go out there with no fear.
I forgot it's on TV.
Yeah, we can go out there and just, but, be on the telly and really, we've got a real part to play in what is, a real nail-biting title finish. And then we've got a last home game that we can all kind of celebrate the team, have the lap of honour at the end and really say thank you. And then the last game at Chelsea is party time. So we can just enjoy it, all away fans. Being in London, we've had some great times at Stamford Bridge. So really enjoying the last 3. I think we've been nervy for a fair few seasons. And I say that in terms of last season, it wasn't nervy because we had just got safety, but it was really on the beach. I keep saying beach, don't know why. But yeah, it didn't feel like a kind of Bournemouth beach last season, did it? It felt really like a pebbly. So yeah, I'm glad that we can just enjoy these last 3.
So pizza before the game, probably pizza after with El Marino. Another clean sheet. And look, let's talk through the teams. 1 o'clock, teams were out, and there were a couple of omissions that surprised us somewhat. And I was thinking, my goodness, we're going to have to hodgepodge this team together. But turned out to work okay in the end. But no Zabani, not even on the subs bench.
I was gutted from him. He's nearly gone the whole season. He got an illness, apparently. I'm glad it's an illness and not an injury, to be fair. Look, it's not a Mepham illness. But yeah, he was out. And then apparently Billing just was too ill. But he was down at the ground, had to leave because they said he's not going to be involved. Probably would have been on the bench anyway.
Yeah.
And then what it looks like is, I think he's rested Ryan Christie, which is incredible, by the way. But Christie obviously was obviously fine. There was no...
Well, yeah, more than fine.
And we've said this before. I just wanted to... No one's really spoke about it. How, one, I think a key was he wants to see you now, which I totally appreciate. So he's got to take one of the midfielders out. Scott played really well against Wolves, so I think he wanted to keep him in there.
Yeah.
But we've said a lot of times, and he keeps saying it, and I think it was Justin Clive that kind of alluded to it in his interview after the game, that Andoni always says, I don't necessarily start my best 11 because I need, with the intensity levels, options off the bench. And I think he's looked at the fact that we haven't got many options. We've got 2 goalkeepers on the bench, 3 players that hadn't made a Premier League appearance, and a couple of defenders. And I think he's gone, I need legs off the bench. And I think he's just held Christie back to go, let's see how we get on. But I know that I can unleash Christie when we need the legs later in the game, because of the way they control possession. A Brighton team always have 70% of the ball.
Yeah.
So if you look at it now, you go, has he just withdrawn Christie? He's played a lot of minutes and gone, I'll need you when the lads are tiring. And it worked to perfection, because then he could start now, knew that he'd tire with lack of match fitness and sharpness, and then bring Christie on for the last stages. And it worked perfectly, mate. Obviously, with no Zabs, it was a weird one, and you rarely see Senesi and Kelly together, the two left side. And they actually, during the game, switched.
Yeah, it did, yeah. But after about half an hour, I think.
I think that was because Senesi got the booking.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was having to follow a lot and be a little bit more risky. So I think they switched him over.
When he got that booking, by the way, I mean, that was fairly early doors, like you say.
Yeah, 5-10 minutes.
He was so advanced. It was almost on the edge of their penalty box.
Are you going to show, later on, are you going to be showing the old average?
Yeah.
Right, so if you don't believe me, that's absolutely fine. I promise that, because I like knowing, so I've not looked at average positions.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I might be completely wrong. I'm intrigued to know Senesi's average position, because I think his average position as a centre-back is going to be higher than our full-back Adam Smith.
Okay.
When I watch the game, Senesi's always higher than Adam Smith.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. But the way he plays, I had a mate text me actually about it, Ash, saying that I haven't noticed till lately just how crucial Senesi is to the way we play. Yeah. And we've said that a few times, haven't we? How people like Meps, even James Hill, to a lesser degree, come in and do a good job. But you notice it when Senesi's back, you go, I get why Andoni likes him. And obviously Dango had to come in at left back, which I'm starting to think is his best position, to be honest with you.
So what were we then? A 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1? Or?
I'd still say Dom was put in a role behind Unal, which actually was the only thing about the game, obviously, other than the Semenyo injury. He's not as effective there.
He's not.
It worked and it was good to see you now, but Dom was a little bit deeper, wasn't he? For sure.
One thing that surprised me was on Thursday or Friday, whenever the press conference was, Chris Temple, he tweeted out his usual team news, and then he just added in this casual line at the end saying, like Unal's been made permanent. And no one really replied to it, no one. But then on Monday, I think this morning, Tom Crocker just tweeted about it, and everyone's almost suddenly realised what Chris Temple put. But £14 million now permanent.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I think it's like obviously a few more euros. So 14 million in total. I think that's in this current market good. Yeah. We haven't seen a lot of him, but the little parts we've said, listen, we've got to remember that was his first Premier League start. So he's only really come on in bits and bobs. We're all saying we haven't really seen him. He scored 2. He
has. I still don't know what kind of player he is though. I would like to have a comparable player in the Premier League where I go, he's a bit like that. But I still don't really know. Just not seen enough.
I know what you mean, because he's got that physicality. It would make you think he's a bit more target manish. But then I think, no, he's got good feet. He's not rapid. But be interesting to see more of him. And I look back at kind of his, obviously this season he's had injuries as well at Getafe. But before that, he nearly hit 22 seasons in a row. I think back a few years now when he was in the Dutch league, he got nearly 20. So he's got a decent bit of calibre, still a good age. In this current market, as I say, I think that's a decent deal. I think it's contractual. I think that it's something to do with the fact that probably that we've got safety. I think there's always, when you have that option to buy, it's probably triggered by appearances and if you stay up and all that sort of stuff. But I'm pleased with it, mate. I think it's a good one, and he's obviously good in and around the place. That's what you got to see. Really pleased and delighted he got his goal at the weekend as well.
Fair few people who were watching the world feed with the commentary team on there. I think Glenn Murray was the co-commentator, actually, ideally positioned being an ex-player for both sides. But apparently they were talking very much about the threadbareness of Brighton's side, but not so much for us. But we really did have a number of players out, didn't we?
It does my head in, this does. Just like in Wolves in the week. Yeah, and that's all they spoke about when we played Wolves, when they had no Neto and Craig Dawson. And we've got loads out. And that just proves the coach we've got, because it doesn't matter because people don't realise it. You know, Dango Tara's never played left back before this season. Ryan Christie's, if I told you that starting lineup at the start of this season, I said, right, here's your lineup.
Or even how it finished with like Max Aaron's right wing.
Yeah, and Dom Sadie on the pitch. And I said to you, that team, by the way, has just got our most ever points tally in the Premier League. You'd have laughed me out of town, mate. So, it's incredible. But as you say, yes, they've got a few good players out. We all know about Matoma, for example. But on their subs bench, they had Danny Welbeck, Adam Lallana, I think Ansu Fati, who's on loan from Barcelona.
Yeah.
You know, they had some good players. But I wonder, Brighton fans, if you're watching, if you compare to, I'd love to know, because there's a few things I've heard from De Zerbi. You know, he's saying a few little bits which sounds like he's not been given enough funds to spend money. And there's a few times I'm looking at his team. He started O'Mahony up front for his debut when he's got Welbeck available. He started Afire. Barker. And I wondered if he's almost starting these youth players to go, this is all I've got. When he hasn't really.
Well, is that not a bit Scott Parkerish?
A little bit. It is a little bit. I mean, listen, he's having a tough season. If this is a tough season for Brighton, it shows how far they've come, mate.
Is it right that O'Fire is like the nephew of Martin O'Fire, the rugby player?
Oh, it might be.
I'm
I
sure
don't
that
actually
Chris
know
Temple
that.
said I think like nephew or something like that.
Right,
And
okay.
It didn't say Martin O'Fire, but I'm guessing that's the only other famous O'Fire that I know. But but either way, look.
Whatever you say, mate. Only one team was on fire. Was that good? That wasn't that good, actually.
No, it wasn't.
I was debating it in my head as I was saying it.
We took the lead. And it was a corner. We had a couple of corners in a row, actually. And the second corner fired in from the left-hand side was Lewis Cook. And then... what, are you going to sing that song?
No.
Tequila, Senesi. Rhyme Zone would not be happy with that, but...
He's good from set pieces, man.
He is. It was an Unal assist of sorts, wasn't it? Did it come off his back or something?
Yeah, it was one of them. It's especially hard, obviously, you're in the same stand as me, to kind of see what happened. Look, I couldn't even work out who put the final header in.
No, nor could I until it was announced.
Yeah, but he's obviously gone for it. I mean, regardless of how much he gets on it, Unal gives us another target in the box. Yeah. There was one point, by the way, sorry, just going off on a tangent a little bit, in that first half where Watara took a corner from the other side, and I thought, why is he taking the corner? Because he's a threat in the box. So I looked at it and went, Kelly's good in the air, Senesi's good in the air, Unal's good in the air, Dango's good. We've got some, it puts a bit of fear into teams. And Senesi, I don't know if you'll know,
go on.
There's only one, I mean, he's joint with a few, there's only one centre-half who's scored more goals this season in the Premier League.
I don't know that.
Christian Romero scored at the weekend for Tottenham.
Right.
Senesi's in there with, I think, Gabriel, Ben White, there's a few others, Fabian Schär, I think, with 4. So yeah, he's one of the top centre-backs in terms of goals. And I remember last season he got a few as well. And
in terms of assists, he's up there as well.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
With Burnley's O'Shea, like, he's right up there. So, and £13 million.
Is that how much he was?
An absolute bargain. 4 goals.
Tell you what, Scott Parker got given the tools, didn't he?
7 assists. Absolutely ridiculous. What a guy he is.
I remember, forgive me because I can't remember his name, when we were at Wolves, there was the fan that come down from the Netherlands.
Yes, Eric,
that's the one. And he's a Feyenoord fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he had Senesi on the back of his shirt. And I remember briefly speaking to him. And he spoke about Senesi like we used to speak about Ake. And I know the level's a bit different, but they were still playing in Europe and stuff. Yeah. And I think he's gone a little bit under the radar, maybe because of how good Zamani's been, which is fair enough. I think Senesi's mustard. I love him. I really love him. I do. If we can find a song for him, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, I mean, you know what? Apart from that, I mean, we had chances. We had other chances. Enes Unal pulling it wide. Alex Scott did really well to win it back on the right-hand side. One thing I noticed was how physical we were and really combative at times.
Yes.
And I also noticed that Brighton players were also going down quite easy. I think the pitch was very wet because they were slipping around all over the place, but also they were sort of moaning a lot. Yeah. And we were very strong, crunching tackles. I mean, there was one tackle that Adam Smith made in the second half that made the fans purr. Wow, that was superb. But we were really, really aggressive with our press. And at times, just watching us go forward for that Enes Unal chance where Alex Scott laid it back. He could have played Solanke and just slightly pulled it back a little bit.
Did he just win the ball back as well, Scott?
He did. And there were about 4 or 5 players all running forward at pace at the same time, found Enes. And that was such a chance. I was desperate for the net to ripple. I think the way it comes to you like that, you have to almost shoot at the keeper to hit the side netting.
I know what you mean.
Not like aim for the side netting because it will go wide with the natural fade of the ball. And that's unfortunately what happened. But it was a golden chance for us. It really was.
Yes, it's one of them weird ones. Though. I know this sounds stupid, but you'll know what I'm trying to say. That if Unal had just scored his header before that, he probably scores that. It's one of them ones where he's trying to be so precise because he hasn't scored first start. And I just think, it was one of them. And I'm so pleased he got his one later in the game because you don't want that to be, because otherwise he would have been thinking back to that chance. But just mention Alex Scott, mate, because
he had a chance as well that was very, very well defended. Good block. Yeah, great block.
But yeah, we covered it a little bit, but obviously the quick turnaround. I didn't go into as much detail about the Wolves game. And Alex Scott this week has started 2 games back to back, being a little bit higher up. I know in this one he was kind of in a 2, but Cook's always the deepest one.
Yeah.
And I've suddenly thought, because I was thinking, is he going to, this style of football? And I think, no, now that, as you mentioned, that aggressiveness, that energy, that intensity to his game has been there this week in terms of that high press, and he's been nicking the ball off defenders. And I just think, he could play in that 10.
He was like the natural link between
Yes.
Lewis Cook, who was a lot deeper,
Yeah.
and then
Solanke.
Solanke, who was just ahead of him.
And then it allows people like Clivert to just come off a wide position. It's great to have them options, versatility wise. And yeah, I'm just really pleased for Alex, because it's been one of them seasons with his injury. You're going, oh, will he, is he going to be the player we thought he would? I know it's early days, but this week in particular that we just had, he's been absolutely sensational. He really has been brilliant, along with Lewis, who just goes on the radar every week, because he's not, when you say some players are good and you go, they're just 7 out of 10 every week. No, he's 8 out of 10 every week. He's a beast in there. And you got to remember, we were all saying this season that Adams was crucial because we lost Lerma and we're not going to have anyone. He's been an absolute monster in there. Absolutely superb.
Another person who did well, the stats show that, Mark Travers. He didn't have much to do though, just like Wolves really. There was a good save in the second half. In the first half, he sort of closed
the angle down.
Buonanotte down from an angle.
Yeah.
He really should have done what Clivert did in the second half, maybe cutting on his left foot, but decided to go to the angle, and it was getting increasingly harder. Lloyd Kelly, by the way, again, who was mustard.
He marshalled him well as well.
Him and Travers just made sure. And it's weird me saying this, but I always feel for Neto, because
he could have easily kept 2 clean sheets.
He would have probably been fine.
Yeah, I
in
know
those
what you mean.
performances.
It's one of them. We'll never know. I think the saves that Travers made, you said that one, which I'd like to think that Neto could come out and save that. There was that one long ranger from Sarabia at Wolves, which we said at the time, didn't we? I'd still expect Neto to save that. He's shown that he's a good shot stopper. There was one in the second half of Brighton that I think ended up being offside anyway, that he tips over the bar, so it wouldn't have mattered. There's no part of me saying we would have conceded loads of goals if Neto was in goal. Because Travers will be, he's done everything to perfection, but he's got to thank the team, because that's the most pleasing thing, is we've had 2 tough fixtures, Wolves away and Brighton at home. Barely been tested. All I'll say is, personally, that Wolves game, when it was getting shaky because we went down to 10 men and they're chucking balls in the box, I'm a lot more comfier that Travers come out and caught some. And that's the only, as we keep saying, don't want to go into it too much, that's the only thing where I go, could I, hand on heart, say that I think Neto would have come out and caught that? There's a few that Travers did. No. So you don't know what would have ended up.
Yeah. These are all hypothetical conversations, really, aren't they? And after the Wolves game, I chatted to my partner Lucy and I said, it sort of reminds me, this is a weird analogy, right? Sure. Bear with me on this one. Like an episode of Come Dine With Me, right?
Right, yeah. Mike Botto was on Come Dine With Me.
He was on it. And when you're on Come Dine With Me, you want to put out your best plates, don't you?
Yeah.
The ones you paid a lot for. And almost because you think it will help you get over the line more to win that prize.
I know what you're going to say.
But you know what? It's the food. It's the food that counts. And look, you can have some IKEA plates that you bought, pretty cheap. And those could actually win you the prize just as well, because it's actually what's delivered. But it's almost out of stubbornness that you think, if I maybe use these plates, there's more chance of me winning the £1,000 prize, which is an awful prize for Come Dine With Me, by the way. But it's almost like one of them, because we've used Neto so often, and he has had these sort of bloopers, and there has been this young potential keeper of the future. Neto's in advanced years, really, in terms of goalkeeper. I'm sure he's got a few seasons left in him, but why did we get Travers back for him not to be used?
I know what you mean.
But anyway, I'm glad for him that he's had 2 clean sheets. It's probably 2 of the games that he'll have wanted to have.
Yeah.
I just, I fear for him at the Emirates.
Oh yeah, that's true. If you kept a clean sheet there, then blimmin' heck. That's going to be a difficult one, for sure. If we keep a clean sheet at the Emirates, geez, just give him a lifetime contract, mate. But, I would have thought he'd be tested a bit more. So, we'll see a bit more what he's about, to be honest. And I think Arsenal, if it's not the best, they're definitely up there in terms of goals from set pieces. And I just mentioned then about Celeste, didn't I? Gabriel's also on 4 and Ben White's also on 4. They're good from corners. They scored 2 at the weekend against Tottenham. From set pieces. So that's kind of the one where we've questioned Neto. So let's see when he's put under a few balls in the box, because he hasn't seen loads of it, how Travers deals with it, mate. But at the moment, we could chuck them in Darren Randolph in goal if you want. I couldn't care less. We're happy days, mate.
I've said this probably, if you're watching the channel, this will be about the 3rd time I've said it over the course of the weekend. But at half time, I came down to have a quick chat with you, and I said Brighton, they looked threatening without being threatening. It's really weird. They were doing these nice little passing sequences, but when it came into the final third, they weren't that impressive whatsoever.
Yeah, I think I said to you when you spoke to me at half time that I felt as comfortable as I could because of what you said. We knew they were going to keep the ball. It's Brighton. That's what they do. They even done it at times against Man City, for God's sake. But I didn't expect them to look so toothless, and so with such little threat. My concern at half time was, we've been here before. we've been 1-0 up, looked pretty comfortable, but we haven't killed them off with a second goal. So, yeah, and it only takes, we'll see later on, that Enciso had a few long-range shots that were good strikes that just went wide and over.
But he celebrated one of them.
Yeah, he thought one of them was dipping in. But it only takes a moment like that if you don't get that second goal. Yeah. Fortunately for us, Unal got it quite quickly after half-time, so it didn't matter. But I was still... Nothing to do with Brighton, but I was still concerned that we hadn't got the second yet. And I knew that they would bring on some more experience, which they did at the break. They brought on Danny Welbeck, didn't they, who helped them a little bit get higher up the pitch, I felt, but they still didn't really hurt us, did they? Which surprised me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as you say, we're looking at the match timeline. If you're watching on YouTube, and this is where the substitutions started to happen. As you can see, of course, we've mentioned it already, but Marcus Senesi, after being booked after only 8 minutes, that was my concern throughout most of the rest of the first half. But then after that, I wasn't really worried because they didn't pose that much of a threat. But in the second half, they did have a few shots, but not before we tested them first. Now, right after half-time, I have to tell you the truth, that I wasn't back in my seat at this point in time. Justin Kluivert ran through on his left foot, side netting. Semenyo was crying out for a square pass, didn't find him. And then there was another moment, only a couple of minutes later, where the ball got caught under Enes Unal's feet and he should have just put it away. It was just one of those ones where he wasn't quite sure where it was. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because on 52 minutes, he did notch. And this is where Justin Kluivert, unbelievable, on the left wing, and then his little feints, his shoulder moves, his jinks of his body. He came inside, he pirouetted, and then he went on a very direct run. And as a defender, when you've got that to deal with, plus Dango Ouattara on the left-hand side coming in as well, is Kluivert going to cut on his right? Is he going to use the overlapping run? He used the overlapping run. I thought the ball might go out of play. Quite a heavy one. But Dongo, I mean, not many other wingers or fullbacks, as he was, would have caught up with that. Lovely little lofted cross. But I've got to say, it was loopy, it was lofted. So the onus was on Enes. The neck muscles that man had to direct it. It was like a Steve Fletcher header, wasn't it? It was like a Kiefer Moore header. Back across goal. What a header it was. So pleased for him, mate.
I'm going to get in, like I said, because I had a little bit of a gripe with Villa throwing away a 2-goal lead against Chelsea. It reminded me of the first game of the season under Parker, the Kelly done a loop ball and Kiefer Moore header. Like that one that there's no real pace on it, so you have to put that power. I think they showed that on Match Today too, didn't they? His footwork and the way, brilliant header. And when you've got Dango Ouattara, I mean, I am concerned for him because I'm assuming he's been given an email. He was standing in the no standing section of the North Stand.
Did you see that? You know what? I was watching. I was like, where's Dongo gone? And he was in row B.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I mean, he was another one. These two players, which is really interesting, that they combined for the goal. At half time, I thought neither of them were playing brilliantly. I thought Unal looked understandably rusty. I thought Dongo, to be fair to him, I've thought about it again. I thought he got caught a few times, but I thought actually he's being told to go so high as well. So he is, and what he can get away with is he's so quick that he often makes up for it anyway. But both of them, were brilliant second half. Really pleased for Dongo, and I keep thinking that his best performances are at left back, aren't they?
That's strange.
And I think, unfortunately, because of Semenyo's injury, we're probably going to have to move him back to the wing. So I hope he plays a bit better out there. I wonder if, a bit like, I know it's a different position, but like with Christie moving deeper, it's like taking that impetus off the numbers because now you just want to see him do it. And it's a little bit of a dangle. We'll go, he never scores. Well, now he's at fullback and he's getting assists. So, really pleased for him. Great ball, great header. And it felt like then, thank God for that. I could relax a bit more because you just want that second goal because of the amount of leads we've given up.
Even at 2-0, they had chances, as we said, a couple of shots just going wide, Travers palming one over the bar. But the goal scorer came off on 67 minutes, Enes Unal, to be replaced by Ryan
Cristiano.
What an engine, by the way. What an engine.
He's just incredible. I'm seriously thinking if he suddenly knows how to, because he got an assist at the end, which we'll talk about. So that's a number. If he gets a goal before the end of the season, because he's still not scoring the Prem, has he?
Yeah.
I can only think he scored at Swansea.
Is he not?
Not this season, no. I can only think of the Swansea goal in the cup. But if he ends up finding shooting boots, then Scotland are going to win the Euros. I mean, because John McGinn was the best player at Villa Park, who's Scottish, by the way. No, but honestly, when he come on the pitch, I just relax now, which is crazy to think how quick his turnaround's been. But great option to have, mate. And he come on, and then you could, it meant Dom could go back to his normal position, and we look comfy as hell. And to be honest, throughout the game, I always felt like we looked the most likely to score the next goal throughout the whole game.
Yeah, Absolutely, and that happened. And you know what's really good about this whole Andoni Iraola side, I think you alluded to it on Fancast, is how modular it is. You just plug certain players into certain positions. Max Aarons.
Yep.
So Alex Scott came off. We were wondering, what's he going to do now? Max Aarons, right wing, like I said earlier. It's amazing the way these players are just, adapting. And like you said, Cliver alluded to this on his post-match interview as well. And it was that man, through Ryan Christie, that ended up scoring our third. And every single one of his goals, I keep saying this, gets more and more emphatic.
Yeah.
And Ryan Christie, just brilliant in the middle of the park and just slips a lovely ball through to Cliver. And it's just the pace that he goes at. And he's a bit like Semenyo in that he can cut in on his right, shoot with his right or with his left, which means the defender, all it was a little jink of the body and he was just...
And like you're saying, emphatic finish, And I was really pleased for him. I was saying at the time that I personally, I think Scott got it in the stadium, didn't he, the man of the match, which I understand as well. I personally thought Cliver, because I just thought he was a threat all game, and I was saying, I think he just nick a goal because he's earned it. And then he gets the record of his dad and all that stuff. And so brilliant. And that was the time in the game, I think, because we were 2-0 up as well. He was only going to do one thing, and that's the top player so the defender must have known that if I know that in the crowd, and you still can't stop it. Absolutely brilliant from him. And he normally has to come off about 60 minutes, doesn't it? And this was the first time I actually thought he grew into the game. He was better in the second half. So absolutely buzzing, mate. And then it starts looking like a victory that he deserved to be, because we were 3 goals better than Brighton.
Oh, absolutely. And Cliver, 8.5 million.
Yeah.
Is that one of the bargains of the season?
It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Like we always say, because you have these conversations where it's going bad, we talk about big fees for players that haven't worked. And then when it's going well, you talk about these sort of fees. So there's at the moment, you could say for every Justin Cliver, there's a Hamid Traore. Do you know what I mean? But talking about this in isolation, absolute bargain. He's been around the place. I think we all know his record in Europe because he's been in every league. But it feels like he's found his home. It really does. And it feels like he's found a coach that is just aligned.
Yeah.
He's a type of player that I just think he just suits Andoni. Whether it's wide, whether it's in the 10, he just suits it.
Does it.
He just does it wherever. He's played well on the right, on the left, and in the 10. So and from the start of the season where I thought he's kind of going to be in that rotation pack to now being one of the first names on the team sheet, in my opinion. So delighted for him. Absolutely buzzing. And he's just got better and better as the season's gone on.
If you are a podcast listener only, you may not catch our YouTube preview shows for each and every game. If you do watch them, you'll know that we talk about the referee. And I say, Tom, who's the referee this week? Tom usually says, I don't care. And we've played off that joke now for maybe a couple of seasons. And you still seem to like it. Thanks very much. 16,000 subscribers. However, Paul Tierney.
It's not a joke, by the way. I don't like refs.
Well, do you like Paul Tierney? Because
really?
I think we said on the preview that He's given out a lot of yellow cards in our games, I think, against Leicester City, albeit it was 120 minutes. There were 9 yellow cards in that. And in our previous games, very quick to brandish cards as well. And in this one, a number of weird decisions. Firstly, I felt like there were a few penalty shouts.
Yeah.
Some of which, all of which weren't given, but some of which were stronger than others. But there was one in particular that even Dermot O'Leary, as you called him earlier on.
Yeah, I meant Dermot Gallagher.
You're thinking of Dermot O'Query, the Talk Sport segment. However, even he agreed that there should have been one.
Yeah, I think he said his biggest, he does like a review, doesn't he, of the rest, which is great fun. Let's make them even more celebrities than they need to be.
Mark Clattenburg Gladiators,
he alluded to the fact that he felt the biggest surprise of the weekend was that Bournemouth didn't get a penalty, and I thought, did we? Yeah, because I think when you're in 3-0, you kind of, which is always great. And he was talking, I thought it was one of the handballs, I think Dunk, there was a few.
That was too close range, I think.
Well, I look at them and go, that shouldn't be a penalty. But then I go, but Adam Smith against Man United. So that's the problem. But anyway, he was actually alluding to Semenyo when I think he played the ball across goal and Barco just absolutely smashed him.
Barcode?
Yeah, whatever his name is.
Barcode. You know what? Loads of people have been thinking his name's Barcode, which reminded me.
Oh, go on.
You won't remember this. Me and Tiggs and Steve Hensman were talking about this before the game. Anyone in the 80s or 90s have one of these things called a barcode battler? Whoosh. Okay, carry on.
Barcode battler?
It was a toy. You scanned barcodes and you got points.
Did you never have riveting? No, bloody hell, we have like PlayStations and stuff now. But yeah, it was, and I remember at the time thinking, how was that not a penalty? And they didn't even really look at it, did they? I don't know. It just, I can't get my head around it, mate. He was okay in the game. He gave a few yellows, I actually think.
A few times he let the game run, which was good.
Yeah, but he gave I think it's very harsh to put this on him, but we're going to talk about, obviously, Semenyo getting that horrible injury at the end. I think the only reason Semenyo stayed on and he took Kluivert off instead was because Kluivert was on a yellow.
Yeah.
So if Kluivert wasn't on a yellow, he might have taken Semenyo off, and we might not have had that. But that's just all hyperbole. How'd you say that? Hyperbole. That's it. But yeah, he was all right. I didn't have to think about him too much. Should have given us a penalty, but it doesn't matter because we battered them.
Yeah, so it's been a really good month for AFC Bournemouth. Not so much for Brighton. I saw their goal of the month competition on Twitter, which was the own goal.
It was
against Burnley. Was it Muric in goal?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that was their only goal this month. Oh my god! And speaking of Paul Tierney, do you remember when Semenyo had that shot in the second half, and it blatantly deflected off their defender? I think it was Barco.
Yeah, he just gave a goal kick.
It was so clear.
It
was so clear.
I know, Semenyo was talking, and the lines was just a delay. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, I had a bit of a moment. I think I'm calling them both bald eggs, because they both look exactly the same, by the way, didn't they?
We do.
You have got hair, so I'm not giving him any stick here, alright? He has got a little bit on there. If you can't see it, it looks like I'm born last year. But yeah, you're just getting on the stats now, mate, and that's exactly what I thought it would be like in terms of possession. 70-30 Brighton, we all know that's Brighton.
But we dominated them.
But we absolutely dominated, and the on-target thing of 6-1 is really, really good. And yeah, it was really comfortable throughout, wasn't it? Which I didn't expect it. You called the win. To your credit, you did call the win.
I did, of course I did.
I didn't anticipate we'd win the game. I mean, they are the hardest team, by the way, just getting into it, that couldn't even be bothered to work out how many I got right in their team. They're so hard to work out who they're going to play. So it was difficult, but.
Especially like you say, if he's trying to make a point to them.
Feels like it. I did call that he'd rotate the keepers, by the way, so I'm going to give myself that. But, I felt it'd be a game that they had the ball. It was all about whether we got our press right and our intensity right, and we did.
All right then, average possessions time. Tom, what was your prediction from earlier? So Marcus Senesi, you said...
He's going to have an average position higher than Adam Smith.
Let's see where the number 25 appears here.
Oh, it's virtually level.
It's virtually level, mate.
Is he slightly ahead? It is virtually level, but that still alludes to my point, I think, because look at Lloyd Kelly compared to Senesi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Behind him. It's just noticed that. And that's what I was saying about at half time, where I thought, is Dango being caught a bit? I thought, no, actually, because he's clearly being asked to go to bomb on, and Smithy's going to be a little bit more reserved.
I mean, check out Dango's heat map.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Probably a bit more so than Adam Smith, really. I mean, look how much Dongo advanced, but also in other areas of the pitch as well. I mean, absolutely supreme for him. By the way, Alex Scott as well.
Everywhere.
Workaholic. I mean, you could say this to everyone. Lewis Cook, we've not really mentioned, by the way.
That's how good he is. That's a compliment. He does it every week.
This is Lewis Cook in his prime.
It's the best season we've had under Lewis Cook.
We thought Lewis Cook's prime was like 5-6 years ago. Yeah. It's not. This is now his prime.
It's not going to happen, right? But I can guarantee you now, when you see the 26, I think it is now, man England squad for the Euros, they'll 100% be one or two midfielders worse than Lewis Cook in that squad. Absolutely. He is unbelievable. He doesn't get and even we do it, don't mention him, because he's that consistent. And you talk about all the heat maps there, and that's without Ryan Christie, who, by the way, I had a message from someone, Harry, one of the subscribers, just saying to me that I thought it's the best compliment Sam Davis has ever got. Your compliment was your quick turnaround of the vlogs. You managed to get was it the Wolves vlog and the Brighton vlog both out that night?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. He said, you're the way you turn your vlogs around is like you are the Ryan Christie. And I thought, I'll tell you what, he's going to like that. So I thought I'd mention that one. So you'll get a lot of praise as well, mate. Everyone's
That's
happy.
Nice.
It's only me that doesn't.
I was playing six-a-side football at Broadstone on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. And shall I tell you? So what happens is I pre-record the intro, make it as interesting as possible, keep it to like 90 seconds. No one wants to hear me go on for that much.
Agreed.
Go into a montage. Everyone loves a montage. Fly the drone up that morning. No, it's previous footage. Then, honestly, I've got a system now, so it works. But then,
Can't we just pretend that I do it?
Yeah, all that. And I pieced it all together, and I basically went to football and had the laptop in my car, like in my boot, whilst I was playing football. At half time, I realised it was all done, all uploaded, published it for 8:30.
You are.
I'm all right, I know.
Yeah, you are.
By the way, speaking of heat maps, look at this. I mean, that's a weird old heat map, isn't it?
It is. Ours is always weird because they're just bloody everywhere.
But that just shows that. Probably just demonstrates Andoni Iraola's style.
Yeah, it
using
does.
the overlapping wing backs.
Yeah.
And, Dango Ouattara and Adam Smith were a big part of that. And Adam Smith, have we spoke about Adam Smith much?
Another one like Lewis Cook, just so consistent.
Andy Jennings mentioned it on fan cams. I think what he said was absolutely brilliant. Like, he is a club legend, and there have been times where he's been scapegoated. Unfairly.
Oh yeah, I do remember last season there being a talk around the fact that his legs were gone and all this stuff. And I remember saying, I think it's a bit the way we're playing with O'Neill. He's not letting him. And I mean, we've seen that this season. When we brought in Aarons, I thought, well, he's just going to be a backup now, Smithy. And obviously the injuries allowed Smithy to get in, but boy, is he taking it. You know, Aarons has got no chance of getting over Smith for the rest of the season. But yeah, Smudge, he's been over a decade, hasn't he, Adam Smith?
Yeah.
Is this his best season? It could be.
It could be.
I mean, he's just been sensational. So yeah, absolutely. And he goes under the radar again. And he's such a leader, so experienced. And yeah, and that's what I mean. You get someone like Dango in and you know he's going to be more offensive. So you just say to Smithy, just be a bit careful. And he goes, yeah, all right. I think he's more intelligent a footballer than people realise.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely bossed it again, mate. He was superb.
Superb. Right. So, man of the match and rating. So, by the way, if you're not a supporter, if you want to thank us for doing the vlogs and the fan cams and all our YouTube content, we have got a thing called Ko-fi, which is similar to Patreon. It's a minimum of like £3 a month, and it just helps us financially keep the channel going. We've got a number of people who support us already, who we're truly thankful for. There are some people that do one-off, which is really appreciated. But if you just show your consistent support for Back of the Net, we put you in a Telegram group, similar to WhatsApp, and we supply an extra bit of content there. We come in every so often, have a chit-chat about stuff, ask for advice about shows, thumbnails, that kind of thing. Tom posts his player ratings as well. And yours was?
My man of the match. I went for Justin Kluivert.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you can make a case for the majority, to be honest. They're all high ratings. But yeah, I just felt that Kluivert earned it with that goal at the end as well, because I thought he was just a constant threat, mate.
If you want to support us, go to afcbpodcast.com/coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Same, isn't it?
Links down below if you want to support us. We'd truly appreciate your support. We'll get you in the Telegram group as well. However, there's a statistical man of the match on who scored that we go over on this podcast based on algorithms and stuff. And earlier, you sort of suggested that you might know who it is.
I just think because it's statistical,
all right,
it's going to be Unai because he got a goal and an assist.
Let's see who it is. It is Dango Ouattara.
Oh, he's got the same as Unai.
Yeah.
Because he got an assist. Of course, Dango got an assist. Yeah. Oh, buzzing for him. That's right.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Clean sheet.
I don't know why Ouattara shades it, but I mean, look at those stats, mate.
Oh, yeah, I saw a thing earlier that him and Lewis, I think Lewis Cook was the best in the league. It might have, just in case I'm wrong, it might have been the other 14.
Yeah.
So it always shows, doesn't it, the stats of the other 14, obviously. And it was about interceptions, and Ouattara was second or third in the league this weekend. So that'll be part of it, a lot of interceptions, so fair play. And obviously I went for Kluivert, but I think when you get a yellow card, that always dips it a little bit and stuff like that. But Ouattara getting it just ahead of Unai by the looks of it.
The big question is, obviously we always show the baseline tracker. We're not doing it in this show, but obviously that's part of the other 14. I mean, next season, will we even be in the other 14?
Don't know, mate. What is
will
the
we
other
be in the
14?
Big Six?
Well, I ain't got a clue, mate. It's just, it's just light work at the moment, isn't it? It is light work.
It's light work. Look, we may be brought back down to earth with a bang on Saturday. Maybe. Maybe not.
Or
could we?
City will love us, wouldn't they? I want Arsenal with the league over City for a change, but it would be funnier if it would be amazing, wouldn't it? Oh, it'd be amazing if we went there. We'll save it for the preview.
All right.
I just fancy it.
I fancy it. Don't say it. Right. Okay. Tom said it. Thank you so much for your time today. You can like and subscribe, as Tom said earlier. Truly appreciate it. There is on the YouTube channel away day shows coming up this week. We will put them out, and then we're into our Arsenal preview content ready for Saturday. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Up the Chairs.
Up the Chairs. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. I don't know why I just randomly went into that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fancied it.
Yeah.
Fancied it.